Good evening. This is the 7 o'clock News Watch update. Senators belittle the 167 signatures supporting the House resolution, pushing for Congress to convene into a constituent assembly to amend the Constitution. Senator Aquilino Pimentel Jr. may be for charter change, but he says this cannot be amended by the House alone. Unlike his colleagues, Pimentel insists on voting separately. Presidential son, Pampanga Representative Mikey Arroyo, earlier said there is no slowing down on the charter change initiative. But Senator Francis Pangilinan says Cha-Cha may sail through Congress, but it has to be approved by the Senate as well. Pangilinan explains there can be no proposed amendments without 3/4 of the Senate supporting the initiative. This means the House needs the support of 18 senators. But Pangilinan says at this point Congress may not even get half of that. Meanwhile, for tonight's stories, the Department of Health reveals that 14% of Filipinos infected with AIDS are youth. The Commission on Elections is all set for new voter registrations tomorrow. President Arroyo appoints Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Rafael Seguis as the new chief of the government negotiating panel. The details of these and more on Newswatch 2nd edition later at 11. I'm William Thio. Stay tuned for another update in an hour. Good evening. Good evening. This is the 8 o'clock Newswatch update. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has given the go signal to several government infrastructure loans. This is in line with the administration's efforts to boost public spending amid the global financial slowdown. Included in the loans approved is the 230 million euros from a Spanish bank. BSP Governor Armando Tetanco says this will be used for President Arroyo's bridge program in agrarian reform areas. Another is the $10 million loan from the International Bank for Rural Development. The loan will cover the construction of 22 small irrigation projects, also in various agrarian reform areas. An $18.8 million loan from the International Fund for Agriculture Development was also approved. It will finance the administration's Food Program Enhancement Program. Meanwhile, for tonight's stories, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee issued subpoena for alleged fertilizer fund bagman. Eastern Petroleum cuts pump prices. Costs of bread are expected to go down this month. The details of these and more on Newswatch 2nd edition later at 11. I'm William Thio. Stay tuned for another update in an hour from now. Good evening. Good evening. This is the 9 o'clock Newswatch update. The House of Representatives is expected to decide on the fate of the impeachment complaint filed against President Arroyo tomorrow. The House Committee on Justice Chair, Quezon City Representative Matias Defensor, says he will submit his report to the committee on rules at 9 in the morning. The report will then be presented to the members of the House during plenary at 4 in the afternoon. The House will then vote to affirm or reject the committee report. The Justice Committee last Wednesday dismissed the 93-page impeachment complaint. The committee passed it as sufficient in form, but was later on dismissed for lack of substance. House Speaker Prospero Nograles doubts the committee's recommendation will be reversed. He says the issues cited in the complaint were issues already raised in 2004. Meanwhile, for tonight's stories, the results of the President's executive checkup show that Mrs. Arroyo is in good health. The chief executive leaves for Clinton Initiative in Hong Kong. The Philippine National Police maintains full alert status. The details of these and more on Newswatch 2nd edition later at 11. Stay tuned for the final update in an hour. Good evening. tourists were caught off guard after realizing that members of the Marines were monitoring the area. The bandits allegedly retreated from the encounter site after discovering the military's presence. Arevalo believes yesterday's clash may have foiled another possible kidnap bid from the group. He says the bandits were most likely scouring for possible kidnap victims when they were spotted by the Marines. 2 weeks ago, President Arroyo ordered for an intensified campaign against kidnapping in Mindanao. The directive was issued following a sudden rise in the number of kidnapping incidents in the war-torn region. Meanwhile, for tonight's top stories, 2 members of the House of Representatives say that there is no slowing down on the charter change initiative. Malacanang remains unfazed by anti-charter change protests. Filipinos stranded in Thailand are set to return to the Philippines tonight. The details of these and more on Newswatch 2nd edition later at 11. I'm William Thio. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of the evening.